The old man lived alone on the edge of the galaxy. His name was forgotten by most, but people in the small space station called him only the captain. He was not a captain anymore. Long ago he had fought in wars that burned planets, wars that killed millions. Now his hair was white, his back was bent, and his eyes carried shadows of old battles. He wanted peace, but peace never came easy in a cruel galaxy. One evening, while wandering through a crowded alien market, he heard voices crying. Not the usual noise of bargaining or laughter, but soft, broken cries. He followed the sound and stopped at a dark corner. There, under the light of a broken lamp, stood a cage. Inside the cage were 3 alien girls. They were young, their skin glowing faintly with strange colors, their eyes bright like stars. Chains wrapped around their arms and necks. The traders shouted at buyers, "Rare, powerful, obedient." The crowd looked at them the way hunters look at animals. The old man's heart grew heavy. He had seen too much of this in his life, innocent lives turned into property. He asked the trader, "What is their price?" The trader laughed. "Old man, you cannot afford them. They are rare. They can sense energy, maybe even use powers. Very valuable." But the old man did not laugh. He sold his last treasures, his ship's spare engines, his old rifle, even the gold ring he had kept from Earth. Finally, with shaking hands, he paid the price. The crowd stared in shock. Why would an old human buy alien slaves? The cage opened. The girls stepped out, weak and frightened. Their chains fell to the ground with a cold sound. The old man looked at them gently. "You are free now. You owe me nothing. Go where you wish. The stars are yours." The girls stared at him in silence. None of them moved. One of them, the smallest, tilted her head. Her eyes were large and silver. She whispered, "You do not understand. You bought us. Now we belong to you." The old man frowned. "No, child. I do not want you to belong to me. I only wanted you to be free." But the tallest of the 3 shook her head. "It is not so simple. We were told. We were told of a human who would come, an old one carrying scars of war. He would break our chains. He would claim us. That is what the prophecy said." The old man's heart skipped. He did not believe in prophecy. He believed only in blood and pain, yet the way the girls looked at him made his chest tighten. Their eyes were not only thankful, they were certain. He guided them to a ship, an old freighter with scars like his own. Inside, he gave them food and warm blankets. They ate quickly, but their eyes never left him. "Tomorrow," he said, "I will find a safe place for you, somewhere you can live free, far from the traders." Again, the silver-eyed girl whispered, "We will not leave. We belong with you." The old man turned away, hiding his trembling hands. He did not want company. He did not want bonds. He was too old, too broken. He only wanted silence. But that night, as the ship floated through the stars, he dreamed. In the dream, he stood on a strange world, filled with glowing ruins. The 3 girls stood beside him, no longer weak, but shining like queens. Voices in the wind called him protector, husband, savior. He woke with sweat on his face and a burning in his chest. The next day, he tried again to convince them. "You are free. You can choose your own life. Do not chain yourselves to me." The tallest girl smiled faintly. "You do not choose destiny. Destiny chooses you." Before he could answer, the ship's alarms rang. Red lights flashed. On the radar, a shadow appeared. An alien vessel, dark and fast, following them through space. The girls huddled together. The smallest whispered, "They are coming for us. They will never stop." The old man's eyes grew hard. He had wanted peace, but once again war was coming to him. And for the first time in many years, he felt something burn inside his chest, something he thought was long dead. He stood up slowly, his old bones aching, and looked at the 3 alien girls. "Then I will not let them take you." The ship shook as the enemy vessel locked on. The old man's hand hovered above the controls, ready to fight again. But before the first shot fired, the silver-eyed girl leaned close and whispered words that froze his blood. "We belong to you now, by destiny." The enemy ship followed them like a shadow in the dark. The old man's freighter was slow, too old for a fight, but his hands moved over the controls with the skill of a man who had seen too many battles. His eyes narrowed. The enemy was patient. They were waiting, watching, testing him. The 3 alien girls stood behind him, silent but not afraid. Their glowing eyes never left the radar screen. The smallest one, the silver-eyed girl, whispered softly, "They are hunters. They will not give up. They always come back. The old man turned his head, his voice steady but firm. As long as you are on my ship, they will not have you. He expected fear, but instead he saw something strange in their faces. Trust, pure trust. As if they had always known he would protect them. Hours passed in tense silence. Finally, the enemy ship faded away into the starry distance. But the old man knew this was not the end. The galaxy was wide, yet there was no hiding from those who owned chains and markets. When the danger was gone, he rose from the pilot's seat. His bones cracked, his body heavy with age. He faced the girls. You must leave. Tomorrow I will find a world where no one knows you. Somewhere safe. That is my promise. But the tallest girl, her skin faintly glowing blue, stepped forward. She spoke slowly, as if explaining to a child. You do not understand. We cannot leave you, the old man frowned. Why not? I gave you freedom. The second girl with golden eyes answered, Freedom without you is nothing. We are tied. We are bound by something older than chains. The old man shook his head. He had heard such words before in war. Soldiers saying destiny, priests saying prophecy, rulers saying fate. He believed in none of it, only in choice, only in survival. Yet when he looked at them, he felt a pull deep in his chest, like a string connected his heart to theirs. It made no sense. He had never seen their kind before, never known their world. And still, there was something familiar. That night, when the ship drifted quietly through the black ocean of space, the old man could not sleep. He walked to the cargo bay where the girls rested. They sat together, wrapped in blankets, their strange glow lighting the shadows. The smallest one looked up at him and asked, Why do you care? Why did you free us when others only looked away? He did not answer at once. His voice was heavy when he finally spoke. Because once long ago I could not save the ones who needed me. I promised myself I would never watch in silence again. The silver-eyed girl nodded slowly, as if she understood more than his words. Then your heart is already tied to ours. Before he could respond, the lights on the ship flickered. Once, twice. The engines hummed strangely. The old man's eyes widened. He knew his ship well, it never acted on its own. The girls looked at each other. Their hands glowed faintly. The tallest whispered, It has begun. What has begun? The old man demanded. The golden-eyed girl placed her hand on the wall of the freighter. The metal pulsed under her touch like a living thing. Our bond. Your ship knows it. The stars know it. You cannot break it. The old man stepped back, unease crawling up his spine. He had seen weapons, monsters, and empires, but never this. Never a ship responding like a loyal beast to the touch of strangers. That night he dreamed again. The dream showed him standing at the heart of an alien temple. The three girls beside him, taller, stronger, their faces shining with pride. And he, no longer just an old soldier, but something more. A protector, a husband, a leader of destiny. When he woke, sweat covered his face. He told himself it was just the mind of a tired old man. But deep inside he knew it was more. By morning the ship's scanners picked up a trail. The enemy vessel had not left after all. It was waiting, watching, calling for others. Soon there would be many. The old man tightened his belt, checked the weapons he had sworn never to use again. If they come, I will fight. The tallest girl stepped forward, her voice steady. You will not fight alone. The golden-eyed girl added, Your strength and our power are one. And the smallest, the silver-eyed, whispered, This is why you found us. This is why destiny brought you. The old man looked at them, his chest heavy with emotions he could not name. He wanted to deny it, to push them away, to return to his lonely silence. But when he saw the light in their eyes, he felt something he had not felt in many years. Hope. Before he could speak, the ship alarm rang again. More ships appeared on the radar, fast, sharp, deadly. The hunters had returned, this time not alone. The girls stood at his side, their hands glowing faintly, their eyes unafraid. The old man gripped the controls, ready for battle. But this time he was not alone, and deep inside, he felt it, the strange bond growing stronger, tying their lives together. Cliffhanger. As the enemy fleet closed in, the silver-eyed girl whispered one last time, her voice calm and sure, We were never slaves. We are your destiny. The old man had seen many battles in his life, but this moment felt different. The radar showed 3 ships closing in, hunters armed with claws of steel and teeth of fire. His freighter was old, its engines tired, its weapons outdated. In truth, it was a cargo hauler, not a war machine. Against them he stood no chance, yet the old man did not turn away. His hands were steady on the controls, his eyes sharp as they once were in younger days. The three alien girls stood behind him, calm but alert. They did not tremble. Instead, they glowed faintly like stars hidden inside fragile bodies. The silver-eyed girl spoke first. "They want us. They will not leave without us." The old man's voice was hard. "Then they will leave with nothing." The ships came closer, lights flashing, weapons ready. The comm screen flickered. A cold alien face appeared, gray skin stretched thin over bone. "Human," the voice hissed. "You have taken what is ours. Give the slaves back and you may live." The old man leaned forward. His voice was quiet but sharp as a blade. "They are not yours, and they are not slaves. Come for them, and you will learn how humans die standing." The alien laughed, a cruel sound like metal breaking. "Then you will die alone." The screen went dark, alarms rang. The enemy ships locked on. The old man tightened his grip on the controls, preparing for impact. But before he could move, the tallest girl placed her glowing hand on the console. The lights of the ship flickered, then steadied. "What are you doing?" the old man demanded. The girl's eyes burned blue. "Helping you. Helping us." The freighter's old engines roared louder than ever before. The ship moved faster, sharper, like it had been reborn. The old man stared, stunned. He had flown this ship for years, and it had never moved like this. The hunters opened fire. Red beams of energy cut across the void. The old man dodged, his hands quick, but it was not only his skill. The ship seemed to listen, to answer before he even gave the command. The golden-eyed girl raised her hands, whispering words in a language he did not know. The enemy beams struck, but the ship's shields flared with golden light, stronger than they had ever been. Shields that should have cracked in seconds held strong. The old man felt his heart pound. "What are you doing to my ship?" The golden-eyed girl met his gaze. "It is not only your ship. It is ours now. We are bound." The old man had no time to argue. He turned the freighter hard, cutting between the hunters. The silver-eyed girl leaned close, her voice sharp and sure.
"Left now!"
He obeyed without question, and at that instant a torpedo flew past the freighter, missing them by inches. He realized with a shock. She could sense their attacks before they came. For the first time in years, the old man smiled. A hard, dangerous smile. He was not fighting alone. The freighter spun, engines burning, shields glowing. The old man fired the ship's old cannons, and with the girl's strange power flowing through it, even weak weapons struck harder than he remembered. One hunter ship cracked under the impact, spinning out into the dark. The aliens howled in rage. Two ships remained, circling like wolves. The old man's chest burned with fire he thought long gone. He shouted like the soldier he once was, "Come then! Come and see what a human can do." The girls' voices joined his, strange chants that filled the ship like music. Together they moved as one. The freighter dove, twisted, struck. The old man's tired body moved with strength he had not felt in years. One hunter exploded in a ball of fire, torn apart by the freighter's guns. The last ship turned, fleeing into the endless dark. The old man's hands shook on the controls. Sweat covered his face. He looked back at the girls. They stood glowing, smiling faintly. Not with joy, but with pride. "You fought with us," the tallest girl said softly. The old man breathed hard. "I fought because I had to. You are under my care." The silver-eyed girl shook her head gently. "No, you did not fight only to protect us. You fought because you remembered who you are." The old man fell silent. Her words cut deep. He had spent years trying to forget the man he once was. A soldier, a fighter, a killer. But tonight, in the heart of space, he had been that man again. And for the first time, he did not hate it. The girls came closer, their glowing eyes watching him. The golden-eyed one whispered, "This is only the beginning. More will come, many more. You cannot walk away." The old man looked at them long and hard. He wanted to deny it, to say this was not his fight. But deep inside, he knew the truth. He was tied to them now, bound by something greater than chance. The ship drifted quietly through the stars, the wreckage of the hunters burning behind them. For a moment, silence filled the cabin. Then the silver-eyed girl spoke the words that made his blood run cold. "They will not stop. They know who you are now, and soon, the whole galaxy will know too." The wreckage of the hunter ship still burned in the dark when silence returned to the freighter. The old man sat in the pilot's chair, his hands resting heavy on the console. His body ached, his breath came slow, but his mind would not rest. He had fought again. He had killed again. After so many years of running from war, he had stepped back into its shadow. Behind him, the three alien girls stood close together. They were not afraid, not broken. Instead, their eyes glowed brighter than before. They looked at him not as a stranger, not even as a rescuer, but as something more. The silver-eyed girl broke the silence. You saved us. But more than that, you fought with us. Do you see now? We are not slaves. We are part of you, and you are part of us. The old man turned sharply. I am nothing to you. I am an old man who made a foolish choice. That is all. The golden-eyed girl shook her head slowly. No, you cannot hide from what you are. You carry the mark. The bond was not created by chance. It was waiting. He slammed his hand on the console. Enough, I did not ask for this. I did not ask for destiny. I only wanted to set you free. For a long moment, the girls said nothing. Their glowing eyes were sad but patient, like they had seen his denial before. Finally, the tallest girl spoke, her voice soft and heavy with memory. Then hear our story. Perhaps you will understand. The old man did not want to listen, but something inside him, some pull he could not name, kept him silent. The girls sat together on the cold floor of the freighter, their hands linked. The silver-eyed one began. We were not born in chains. Once our people lived in light. Our world was filled with towers that touched the sky and rivers that sang like voices. We were a proud race. Her voice trembled as she continued. But the slavers came. They burned our cities. They took the young, the strong, the gifted. We were children when they came for us. We watched our families fall. We were chained, carried across the stars, sold like cattle. The golden-eyed girl's hands glowed faintly as she added, for years, we waited, we prayed. We remembered the words of our mothers, the prophecy of the human. An old warrior scarred by battle would come. He would break our chains. He would be our protector, our bond, our future. Her voice broke, but the tallest girl finished the tale. That is why we cannot leave you. You are not only our savior. You are the man our people saw long before we were born. The old man sat frozen. He wanted to reject their words. Prophecies, destiny, these were chains of another kind. Yet the fire in their voices stirred something inside him, something he had buried under years of silence. I am not your prophecy, he said at last, his voice rough. I am just a tired man haunted by mistakes. You do not know what I have done. You do not know how many I failed to save. The silver-eyed girl crawled closer. She looked up at him with eyes that seemed to pierce through every wall he had built. And yet, you saved us. That is enough. Her words struck deeper than any weapon. The old man turned away, gripping the armrest of his chair. His heart ached with conflict. He felt too old for love, too broken for destiny. But the bond between them was growing stronger, whether he wanted it or not. That night, the dreams returned. He saw again the ruined world glowing under alien stars. He saw himself standing with the three girls beside him, not as a savior who came and left, but as something more. Husband, father, protector of a people not his own. The dream felt heavy with truth, as if the stars themselves whispered it. He woke with trembling hands. His reflection in the dark window looked back at him, a weary face, scarred, lined, ancient. Could such a man truly be what they claimed? The next morning, the girls found him sitting alone in the cargo bay. He looked at them, his voice rough but softer than before. If what you say is true, if I am bound to you, then I must ask, what will happen if I walk away? The golden-eyed girl answered without hesitation. Then we will follow you. Across stars, across death. Because our fate is tied to yours. He stared at them, speechless. For the first time in years, he felt something burn in his chest. Not anger, not pain, but a fragile, dangerous thing. Hope. Before he could speak again, the freighter's scanners beeped. A signal had reached them, faint but unmistakable. It came from deep space, from a ruined planet marked long ago on forgotten star maps. The silver-eyed girl whispered, her voice shaking. Our home. It calls to us. The old man looked at the signal. His heart tightened. He had sworn to stay away from destiny. Yet destiny was reaching out to him, pulling him toward a path he could not escape. He closed his eyes, breathing heavy. When he opened them again, his voice was steady. "Then we go, to your world." The girls smiled softly, their glowing eyes shining with tears. But far beyond, in the cold silence of space, unseen enemies stirred. The prophecy was not hidden from them. They too had heard of the human protector, and they would not let him rise without a fight. The freighter drifted silently through the star lanes, its old engines glowing faintly. Inside, the old man sat at the helm, his eyes fixed on the blinking signal that guided them forward. It was faint, fragile, like a dying heartbeat calling from across the stars, yet it pulled them with unshakable force. Behind him, the three alien girls watched the screen with quiet reverence. Their glowing eyes reflected the light of the signal, their faces filled with hope and sorrow. For days they had said little, but their silence was not empty. It was the silence of those who wait for home. At last the ship broke through a veil of dust clouds and the planet appeared. The old man leaned forward. His breath caught. The world was scarred. Entire continents were burned black. Oceans boiled into steaming pits. Cities reduced to ash and rubble. The surface still glowed faintly from ancient firestorms. Yet beneath the ruin he saw strange patterns, lines of light that pulsed slowly as if the planet itself still breathed. The tallest girl placed her hand on the glass. Her eyes glowed blue. "Our home?" she whispered. Shattered. But alive, the old man said nothing. He guided the freighter down through the broken skies. Ash clouds parted, revealing twisted towers of stone and metal rising like bones from the earth. The ruins glimmered faintly as if waiting for them. When they landed, the air was thin but breathable. The old man stepped down onto the cracked soil. The ground vibrated under his boots as though recognizing his weight. The girls followed him, their bare feet glowing softly against the dark stone. They walked through the ruins in silence. Strange carvings covered the fallen walls, spirals, stars, and the shape of a human hand. The old man stopped, staring. His chest tightened. How could his image be carved into stone on a world he had never seen? The golden-eyed girl touched the carving gently.
"Long ago our mothers told us of the one who would come."
A human marked by war carrying sorrow. He would walk these ruins and awaken them. The old man shook his head, his voice sharp. "This is madness. I am not your savior. I am not chosen. These are just old stories." But even as he spoke, the carvings pulsed with light, golden lines spreading outward like veins across the stone. The ground hummed. The air grew warmer. The girls turned to him, their eyes shining. "It answers you," the silver-eyed girl whispered. "You cannot deny it." The old man stepped back, his heart pounding. He had fought enemies with guns, monsters with claws, but never a world itself. Yet here the ruins moved for him. They recognized him. As they journeyed deeper, they reached what looked like a temple. Its roof had collapsed, but a great stone arch remained, carved with more spirals and stars. The moment the old man walked beneath it, the air trembled. Light flared along the walls, forming shapes, ghostly figures of the alien people bowing before him. He froze. The figures whispered in voices like wind, protector, husband, savior. The old man's throat tightened. "No, I am just a man, a broken man." The tallest girl stepped beside him, her glowing hand resting on his arm. Even the broken can be chosen. Before he could answer, a sound cut through the ruins, engines, loud, sharp, growing closer. The old man's heart sank. The hunters had followed. From the skies above, dark ships descended, their shadows stretching across the ruins. The ground shook as heavy boots struck the soil. Alien soldiers poured out, weapons gleaming. Their leader's voice boomed through a speaker. "Human, you dare step onto this cursed world? You dare claim what is not yours? By order of the Empire, you are marked as a traitor to the galaxy. You and those slaves will be erased." The old man stood tall, his tired body heavy but unyielding. The girls formed a circle around him, their hands glowing brighter than ever before. The ruins responded, lines of light spreading outward, forming shields of golden energy. The soldiers fired. Beams of red struck the shields and shattered into sparks. The girls did not flinch. Their voices rose in unison, chanting words the old man did not know. The temple walls shook and the ground beneath the enemy split apart, swallowing them into fire. The old man's eyes widened. He had seen power before, nuclear fire, starship cannons, but never this. This was not technology. This was something older, something deeper. The golden-eyed girl turned to him. "Do you see now? You are not only our protector, You are the key. With you our power awakens. The old man's chest ached. He wanted to deny it, to say he was too old, too weary, but the ruins glowed brighter with every breath he took. The planet itself seemed to lean toward him, as if waiting for his choice. More enemy ships appeared in the sky. The war was only beginning. The silver-eyed girl took his hand, her touch warm. This is not the end, old one. This is the beginning. The galaxy will soon know you, and they will fear you. The old man looked at the burning sky, the ruins shining around him, the 3 alien girls standing at his side. He felt destiny pressing against his bones, heavy as the weight of all the wars he had fought before. For the first time, he whispered the words he had always refused to speak. Then let them come. The ruins trembled as the sky filled with enemy ships. Shadows spread across the dead world, hundreds of hunters descending like vultures. The air screamed with the sound of engines, the glow of red weapons lighting the ash-filled sky. The old man stood at the heart of the ruins, the 3 alien girls around him. Their hands glowed brighter than ever, their voices a low chant that made the air hum. The ruined planet itself pulsed in rhythm, as though waking from a long sleep. The old man's heart pounded. He had fought wars before, but never like this. He had commanded armies, seen fleets burn, but he had always been one soldier among many. Now he stood as the last line between the girls and the galaxy's cruelty. The first wave of soldiers landed, their metal boots shaking the ground. The leader raised a clawed hand. Kill the human. Take the girls alive. The old man stepped forward. His voice was iron. You will take nothing. The enemy charged. Beams of red light slashed through the air. The girls raised their hands and golden shields shimmered into existence. The blast struck and shattered harmlessly, falling like sparks of rain. The old man moved with them, his body heavy with age but his spirit burning. He picked up an old rifle from his freighter, a weapon older than most of the soldiers before him. His hands did not shake. He fired. Each shot found its mark, dropping enemies with the precision of a man who had lived too long on battlefields. But it was not only him. The tallest girl unleashed a wave of blue light that tore through enemy ranks, throwing soldiers aside as if the air itself had turned against them. The golden-eyed girl spoke words of power, and the ruined towers around them came alive, hurling stone and fire at the invaders. The silver-eyed girl closed her eyes, whispering softly, and suddenly the old man felt their movements before they happened. He ducked, rolled, fired, striking soldiers before they even aimed. Together they fought not as 4 separate beings, but as one. The enemy fell in waves, but more came. Dropships screamed down from the sky. Mechs with steel arms and cannons marched through the ruins. The old man's heart thundered. He could not hold forever. He raised his rifle to fire again, but the golden-eyed girl grabbed his arm. No, you must lead, not just fight. I am no leader, the old man growled. I am only— You are ours, she interrupted. And through you we are more than slaves. Through you we are warriors. The word struck him deep. He looked around at the ruins glowing with their strange energy, at the girls who had trusted him without fear, and at the endless tide of enemies. He realized then that he was not only protecting them, he was standing for something greater, for hope, for freedom, for a people broken but not destroyed. The old man straightened. His back ached, his scars burned, but his voice rose like thunder. Stand with me. We will not bow. We will not break. Let the galaxy see that humans and your people are not prey. The ruins answered with light. Towers blazed like suns, the ground pulsed with golden fire. The girls cried out with voices filled with power. Their glow spread into him, and for the first time he felt young again, not in body but in spirit. The battle turned. Soldiers fell back as the planet itself fought beside them. The mechs collapsed under waves of fire and stone. Enemy ships in the sky shuddered as beams of golden energy struck them from the ruins. But the enemy leader was not finished. His massive warship descended, blotting out the sky, its weapons charged, glowing with red fire. A single blast could erase the ruins, and them with it. The old man stared up, his heart steady. He turned to the girls. Together. All of us. They joined hands with him. Their glow spread into his chest, filling him with warmth and power unlike anything he had ever felt. His old scars burned away, not erased but transformed into marks of light. His voice roared as he raised his rifle toward the sky. Now! The 4 of them cried out together. A wave of golden energy burst from the ruins, rising like a storm. It struck the warship, tearing through steel and fire. The great vessel cracked, split, and exploded in a blaze that lit the skies of the dead world. Silence followed. The remaining soldiers dropped their weapons, retreating into the shadows. The hunters were broken. The old man stood trembling, his body weak but his spirit unshaken. He looked at the three girls. They stared back at him with tears in their glowing eyes. "You are not just our protector," the silver-eyed girl whispered. "You are our heart," the tallest one added, her voice firm. "You are not alone anymore." And the golden-eyed girl, her face shining with light, spoke the words that would change everything. "Father, husband, hero. You must choose who you truly are." The old man froze. The weight of her words pressed against him heavier than any battle. He had carried weapons, carried scars, carried sorrow. But this was a choice no war had ever forced upon him. Was he only a soldier bound to fight until death? Or was he something more? Someone chosen, someone loved, someone destined to shape a new future. The ruined planet glowed around him, waiting for his answer. And above, in the endless stars, whispers spread across the galaxy. The human had risen. The ruins lay quiet after the storm of battle. Smoke drifted through the shattered towers, and the ground glowed faintly with the golden fire of the prophecy. Broken weapons lay scattered among the dust. The hunters were gone, fleeing into the stars with fear in their hearts. At the center of the ancient temple, the old man stood with the three alien girls beside him. His rifle hung heavy at his side, its barrel scorched from the fight. His body ached, his bones screamed, yet inside he felt something stronger than pain. He felt alive. The silver-eyed girl broke the silence. Her voice was soft but steady. "It is done. The chains are broken." The tallest girl stepped closer, her glowing hand brushing his shoulder. "But the war is not over. The hunters will return with greater armies. The Empire will not forgive what happened here." The golden-eyed one looked at him deeply, her voice trembling. "And so we ask you, not as slaves, but as women free to choose, will you walk with us? Not only as protector, but as one of us?" The old man's heart tightened. He had lived his life in shadows, in regret, in silence. He had promised himself never again to carry bonds, never again to love, never again to lead. But here, among the ruins of a fallen world, he felt something different. These girls were not chains. They were light. For a long moment he said nothing. The wind carried ash through the broken temple, whispering like ghosts of the past. Finally his rough voice broke the silence. "I am old. I am scarred. I am not the man you think I am. But if you still want me, then I will stay. I will be what you need." The three girls looked at him with glowing eyes that shimmered like tears. The silver-eyed girl smiled softly. "Then you are already more than enough." They knelt together, their hands linked with his, forming a circle of light in the heart of the ruins. The carvings on the walls pulsed, golden fire spreading outward, painting the dead city with brilliance. The planet itself seemed to breathe again, and in that light the bond became more than prophecy. It became choice. It became love. Days passed. Word of the battle spread across hidden channels of the galaxy. Whispers reached the slavers, the empires, the warlords. They spoke of an old human who had destroyed fleets, who had awakened a dead world, who stood with three alien queens at his side. Some called it myth. Others called it the beginning of rebellion. The old man did not care for their whispers. He stayed with the girls, helping them rebuild what they could of their home. Together they cleared the ruins, raised fires for warmth, and sang the songs of a people who refused to die. At night, he sat by the flames, his rifle at his side, and listened to their laughter. For the first time in decades he felt peace, not the silence of hiding, but the peace of belonging. One evening, beneath the broken sky, the girls stood before him. They wore robes of light woven from the ruins' energy, their hair glowing like starlight. The golden-eyed girl spoke first. "In our world's tradition, when chains are broken, we honor the one who broke them. But for us, it is more. You are not only savior. You are chosen. We ask you now, will you join with us, not as guardian, but as husband?" The old man's breath caught. Husband. The word pierced his chest like a blade, but not of pain, of truth. His hands shook as he looked at them. "I am no king. I have no crown to give." The tallest girl stepped forward, her hand warm against his scarred face. "We do not ask for a king. We ask for you." The silver-eyed one whispered, "Stay with us. Not because of prophecy, not because of destiny. Stay because you want to." The old man closed his eyes. For a lifetime he had run from love, from family, from bonds. But here, in the ruins of a fallen world, he had found what he never expected. He opened his eyes, his voice breaking but firm. Then yes, I will stay. I will be your husband. I will be your protector. I will be yours. Tears glowed on their cheeks as they embraced him. In that moment, the prophecy was fulfilled. Not by chains of fate, but by the choice of an old human who had once believed his life was over. The galaxy trembled. Far away in hidden chambers of power, rulers whispered in fear. The human has risen. He is not alone, and if he leads others, no empire will stand. The old man did not hear their fear. He sat beneath the stars with the three who had chosen him, their laughter echoing through the ruins. For him, this was not an ending. It was a beginning, yet somewhere deep in the void, a voice stirred. A voice older than empires, colder than time. It whispered through the stars. This is only the first step. Humanity will rise, and the galaxy will kneel. The old man lifted his eyes to the endless sky, unaware of the storm yet to come. But for now he smiled, holding close the three who had turned his sorrow into light. The warrior was gone. The husband was born, and the legend of the human had just begun.